Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Britain in Pictures. This is part 10, I believe, if I got that correct. We're nearing the end here of sort of a shelf tour of the books that were published by Collins starting in 1941. They're essays. They call them books, but they are books, but they're individual essays. The page count goes to like page 47, 48, but it starts at page 7 and they're heavily illustrated. So, less than 30 pages for the actual writing. And this is The Port of London by John Herbert. I don't think I've did this one yet. There are quite a few London ones. And again, blank on the back. We found one in a previous part that actually had printing on the back cover. And this one was published 1947, and it does have a spine number of 115. I don't know when that started either. Again, I keep saying it'd be nice to get the history and bibliography. The Thames from Richmond House, oil painting by Antonio Canelli, called, Canaletto. I thought that was the Canaletto. 1746. Oh, I do like Canaletto. The Italian bridge connecting Bridewell and Blackfriars at the entrance of the Fleet River. Oil painting by Samuel Scott, 1710 to 1772. Very nice. I'm sure that's completely gone now. This is a contender for the thumbnail. View of St. Paul's from London Bridge, 1802, colored engraving by N.R. Black after J.C. Stadler. There's another contender. I think I'm definitely going to choose something from this volume. The Shot Tower, Wharves and Brewery below Waterloo Bridge, color antiquette by G. Hunt after F.C. Turner, 1836. Is that tower still there, or did they get Fred Dibnah to tear it down? If anybody knows, obviously I know I can get on the internet and check, but it's always fun to sort of see this, or and I'll revisit it once this is posted months hence. From now. But yeah, if anybody knows, is this tower, the Shot Tower, obviously the wharves and stuff, and the brewery might still be there. It's probably turned into £1 million flats, most likely. Or it was bombed. See, that's the good... Oh, sorry, I did not mean that. It's just this brain thing. I was thinking that's the good thing that we can look at things, but it didn't come out that way. The launching of HMS Trafalgar at Woolwich, June 1841. Colored engraving by H.O. Minories from a Deptford scrapbook in the British Museum. Is it coming out of, it's coming out of sort of a shed. It looks like a cruise ship. Doesn't that look like a cruise ship? The modern cruise ships. The Gun Wharf Tower of London, oil painting by Henry Pether, 1863. Cheyenne Walk, Chelsea, oil painting by Cecil G. Lawson, 1870. That it's something that always reminds me, is from Charles Chaplin film Limelight. It's a back projection, but Chaplin and I forget her name, the actress Claire Bloom they're walking along the Thames. It's a back projection, but every time I see the Thames, a picture like that, that's what comes to mind, because I think that might have been the first time I'd ever seen it when I was a teenager, So it's always going to be in my mind because I thought it was so great. Uh, Penning, a Penang grain ship at Millwall Silo, watercolor by Norman James, 1935. See, I know those have been up. I think they survived the war, or I'm thinking of somewhere else, but that looks very familiar to me. But I don't know if they're still there now. But I mean, I'm sure I've seen pictures post World War II. Chesapeake Reach at low tide, seen from an upper window in Hammersmith Terrace. There's no way that's gonna look the same now. That's gonna be all built up, like you won't even barely see the water from anywhere. So yeah, no, this one I like this. Definitely gonna use the thumbnail from that. Oh, we've already done that with British Mountaineers, so that solves the problem. There was gonna be 6 on the last one. So now there won't be. It works out perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it works out perfect. The Liberal Party, R.J. Cruikshank. This was referred to in another one. I don't have the Labour Party. I want to get that with the Conservative, and that's it'd be nice to get it in equal condition. The liberalism, the key. All of a pound that I paid for it. This was published 1947. Oops, a bit sticky there for some reason. Yeah, again, blank. Let's see here. The history of the Liberal Party is the history of remarkable personalities as well as of ideas. Mr. R.J. Cruikshank shows how aristocratic Whigs, philosophic radicals, nonconformists, and humanitarians joined with the workers in support of the Liberals, and traces the history of the party from the days of the Reform Bill until the present. He shows how the Victorian period became the golden age of liberalism and how later social reforms carried on the tradition. That are just being anything that was gained then is being taken away now. I'm sorry. Try not to get political. The book not only gives an account of the achievement of the Liberal Party, but also describes how the party machine is organized and gives a clear picture of the problems and opportunities that lie before it today. Mr. Cruikshank is well known as a liberal journalist and admirably qualified. He has here written a brilliant short history of the Liberal Party. This book is a companion volume to the Conservative Party by Nigel Birch, which we've seen, and the Labour Party by J.P.W. Mallieu, published in this series. Together they form a unique illustrative survey of the 3 main political parties. I definitely want to get that one. Again, silhouettes. Introduction. So we got Charles James Fox, 1749-1806, watercolor by Lady Diana Beauclerk. Obviously black and white. Reproduced. Ooh. Why is there sticking here? Yeah, it's weird. It's not water damage. They're rippling. I think it's the glue that wasn't glued down well enough. Yeah, these weren't well made. By any shape or form. The Lord's Veto Question poster published by the Liberal Party, 1910. Tory peer to voter. It's all right, my man. You may go and vote if you like, but however you vote, I always have the last word. Why not have the last word yourself? Interesting. That's really cool. Again, was that the Conservative one as well that had blank pages? I can't remember which one that was. This is the second one we've come across with blank pages, and it'd be interesting if it was the same one. Great Anti-Slavery Meeting in Exeter Hall, watercolor by T.H. Shepard. That would be interesting in color. Now we got some personalities coming up. Oh, there's another well, it says trade cartoon, but it's a poster. Free trade cartoon drawn by for a liberal election leaflet by F.C. Gould, 1905. So leaflet. Don't worry yourself over the puzzle whether Mr. Balfour is a Chamberlainite or Mr. Chamberlain a Balfourite. It's enough for you that they are both linked together against free trade. Against free trade. Don't forget that whether the Tory candidate calls himself a Balfourite or a Chamberlainite, the only way to support free trade and no protective taxes on food is to vote Liberal. Ah, okay, I get it now. Another blank page, and on the back, David Lloyd George, 1863 to 1945, oil painting by Sir William Orpin, 1927. And it's sort of, well, it's recent. While I'm recording this, came up. I think somewhere I mentioned the Maurice Alvey. I think it's 1919. David Lloyd George film, which is fabulous. It's actually it's still extant. It's thought it was lost. It was never released, and it wound up, I think, in Lloyd George's attic, and it was really only found maybe 30, 40 years ago and aired, I think at Perdone in Italy was the first time it actually got screened, and it's been put on DVD by, I think, Wales, Library of Wales or Museum of Wales or something like that. It's a very good film. And Maurice Alvey, the discussion was that went on into the 50s. Like he started directing TV, and he went on into the 50s. There was a film show that he was on the BBC. Just anyway, sorry, I digressed there, but it's fresh in my memory because I was talking about it recently. But now, once you see this will be months past that I'm talking about. National Health Insurance Bill. Lloyd George, as Chancellor of the Exchequer, receives a deputation at the Treasury drawing by Frederick de Hayman from the Illustrated London News, December 2nd, 1911. Very interesting. Lord Beaverbrook, oil painting by Sir Wilson Nicholson, 1926. Again, this is on the front and empty on the back. And yeah, it's the same format as that other book because there's one that has something on the back, not on the front. Here we go. What's this? Chart of the Liberal Party organization. Constituency associations in England and Wales, area Federations, Assembly, Council, Women's Liberal Federation, Executive, National League of Young Liberals. I don't know enough about the party. Well, it'd be Lib Dems. Libs. Oh, sorry, my brain. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be left out. I shouldn't be let loose alone. I wonder if that is still, any of that is relevant today. Anyway, there we go. And this was going to be a long one as well, by the looks of it. British Ships and Shipbuilders by George Blake. Oh, I like the cover of that, the design. And let's see, it's really the same thing on there. And blank on the back. I do like these purple. I like the bright purple, like the bluish. I like those. Not the yellow so much of the Liberal Party. What year is this? I'm looking here now. 1946. Great Britain has long survived on the excellence of its ships and its sailors, and the great names are familiar to us all. Less well known is the story of the development of these ships and of the men who designed and made them. This is the story Mr. Blake tells, starting with the primitive vessels of Elizabethan times and leading on to the present day in the magnificent performance of the British shipbuilding industry in the War of 1939 to 1945. Yeah, so this is 1946, if I didn't say that correctly or not. When to give one example, the Clyde alone was turning round 100 ships a week. Wow. Both new ships launched and damaged ships repaired. That's, regardless, that's still impressive. And what is it now? Like there's maybe a few year in yachts. Like where is Bezel's yacht being made that needs a support yacht? It's so big. Anyway, the author has written many books about the sea, and 3 of his novels, including The Shipbuilders, have been Book Society choices. Much of his work during the war brought him in close and active touch with national shipping affairs, and his intimate knowledge of the ships and sailors and his thorough understanding of the work of our shipyards and the men in them makes this a personal and first-rate account of the subject. Warship and Dock, watercolor by Eric Ravloy. Oh, I do like him. 1940. Obviously, that would have been in color, but Ravloy is nice. A 3-decker close hulled, watercolor by W.J. Peacock, 1790. There are billions, that's hyperbole, but there are thousands of paintings of this kind of thing, and I never get tired looking at them. I remember being in the Maritime Museum in Liverpool, and just picture after picture of docks, London docks, ships, and they even had more that aren't even on the walls. And I sort of wished there was they had a great book with a whole bunch of this stuff, or postcards. They hardly had anything. I was so disappointed, but I do love them. The Battle of Trafalgar, 21st of October, 1805. In the van near the end of the action, the French Admiral Dumanoir escaping to windward. Color engraving by Robert Dodd, published 1806. Yeah, I've seen this one before. That's a popular one. And like I said at the beginning, that some of these are unseen at the time, but I don't know if that one was, but it's sort of known now. The Great Harry or Henri Grace de Dieu, engraved by P.C. Canet after T. Allen, 1756. The first steamship on the Thames. Whoa. Watercolor by J.M.W. Turner. Circa 1824. I was just thinking that would make a nice thumbnail as well. So many would. But I'm going to do it from the ports of London. SS Archimedes, 1839. Colored engraving by C. Rosenberg after painting by W.J. Huggins. Seen that one before, or at least I know somewhere I know the name of the SS Archimedes, but steamship Archimedes, but it may have been used other times. Designed for armor-plated steamship of war by Captain John Wheatley, Royal Navy, RN, 1840, colored lithograph. These are really fun. I do enjoy looking at these kind of things. But in color, that would be much more impressive, obviously. And there is another one that's sort of similar. Engravings of the river steamer Iona, constructed by James and George Thompson, Glasgow. Engraving from Shipbuilding, edited by W.J.M. Rankin, 1866. East India, the Honorable East India Company's paddle steamer Bernice, standing out of Bombay Harbor, engraving by E. Duncan after W.J. Huggins, 1837. It's really cool. See, these, it's either more wider remit, because obviously that's not England, but it's showing its dominance throughout the world and the Commonwealth. There was the ones I don't have specific ones. I think there's ones on like Canada and a few other places. And I like the one on the other page here is the P&O Steam Navigation Company steamship Bentinck, passing Aden, January 3rd, 1844, engraving by E. Duncan after W.J. Huggins. See, yeah, they know the exact date of that. It's a wonder they didn't put the time on it. Which reminds me, I need to just... Oh, fine. The Royal Mail steamship... Oh, Asia, I thought it was an N. Inward bound, hove to for pilot, off Point Linus, color lithograph by T.G. Dutton after S. Walters, 1851. I never get tired of those. I really never get tired of them. And even, this is a later one, the New Mauritania oil painting for the Cunard Line poster by Frank H. Mason, 1939. And yeah, these kind of posters are really neat. The like from Cunard Line, the White Star Line, all of them are really neat. And the same as like train ones. Yeah, I don't have any train. There must be a train book in all this too. I just thought of that. Yeah, and then there's the Cutty Sark watercolor by Gregory Robinson. That's in London. That's I forget where the place is. I was down there once. I didn't get onto it, but I remember seeing it. Building a Battleship, oil painting by Charles Gilmer, 1940. Oh, this is really cool. Shipbuilding in the Clyde, 1940. Burners at work. Detail from a series of panels in oil by Stanley Spencer. Be interesting to see what the full one looks like. It's just like there's little bits on the, like, you know, they're with torches. Here we go. Fitting out space in lithograph by Sir Muirhead Bone. And here there's a battleship or something. Yeah, the HMS King George V, drawing by Sir Michael Bone. Same guy. And on the back here, the plan of the steel paddle steamer Hope for Messrs. John Onegin and Company, Liverpool, engraving from Shipbuilding, edited by W.J. M. Rankin, 1866. We've already come across that book, and another engraving. So yeah, so that's the end of that one. Two more to go here. British Engineers. Oh, that sort of works nicely. By Matthias Chappell. Uh, 1942. This book on British engineering is written by a brilliant young Canadian writer. He is a lecturer in economic history and has specialized in the 18th and 19th centuries, the great age of change and development in which civil engineering as we know it first began to affect the everyday life of the people to any appreciable degree. Mr. Chappell vividly describes the great English pioneers in civil engineering during this period, when for individual genius in the sphere Great Britain led the world. The splendid story of our engineering record is brought up to the present time when the complexity of the problems involved and the vastness of their scope has tended to, I think it says, hide the individual, it's chipped away, contribution in the combined effort of groups and engineers working in collaboration. Another thing I like is bridges. And Stonehenge oil painting, again, a panel across the top of the introduction. Plans for cast iron bridges, colored engraving by J. Past, 1799. And then Ancient Bridge on Dartmoor. And, Smiles, Lives of the Engineer, yeah. Smiles, an interesting character. I'd love to get his Lives of the Engineers that this is from. What did he write? I've got one book. It's sort of like a happiness or something. I can't remember now, but A very strange but interesting guy, and the stuff that he wrote. This is the cast iron bridges, which I like too. I like bridges. The cast iron bridge near Coling, Brookdale, Shropshire, colored engraving by W. Ellis after M.A. Rooker, 1782. I really do want to get to the Iron Bridge. That is wonderful. Thomas Talfourd, 1757 to 1834, oil painting by Samuel Lane. So he's one of the biggies. That's probably what there's going to be in it. Ooh, this is nice. Building a bridge over the Thames at Blackfriars, colored engraving by Edward Rooker, 1766. Wonder if they're going to have sewers in this. I haven't looked through this one. Lighthouses. Ooh, building a lighthouse. Winstanley's wooden lighthouse, 1699 engraving of the first Eddystone lighthouse. Oh, that's interesting. It was a wood one. Smeaton Stone Lighthouse, 1759, engraving by Eddystone, engraving of the Eddystone Lighthouse. There's another lighthouse, Eddystone Lighthouse, the morning after the storm. Ice, I think that's what's hanging off the top. The progress of the Bell Rock Works, engraving 1824. Yes, entrance to the railway tunnel at Edge Hill, Liverpool, colored engraving by S.J. Hughes after T-Bury, 1833. The Britannia Bridge Conference, 1850. Robert Stevenson presides, and I.K. Brunel, Isambard Kingdom Brunel, sits at the extreme right. Oil painting by John Lucas. Important event to be commemorized. Whatever. Clifton Suspension Bridge over the River Avon, color lithographed by R.S. Scroon, circa 1864. That bridge is still there, isn't it? I think, or has it been rebuilt? Here we go. The Rocket, engraving from Smiles' Lives of the Engineers. The Rocket. So there is some railway stuff in here, but not all. Crumlin Viaduct, Monmouthshire, designed by Charles Little, colored lithograph published by Newman and Company, circa 1842. And yeah, we'll end it there because I am pushed for time here. The English at the Seaside, Christopher Marsden. Let's see here. 1947. Again, the same and blank. It may be surprising to most readers to learn that by the middle of the 18th century, more than a dozen seaside resorts were in full swing. After describing early days at Scarborough, Mr. Marsden gives a brilliant account of life in Margate in 1780. There follows the period of royal patronage in Brighton and Weymouth, and the gradual extension of the seaside habit through the 19th century until it becomes an annual institution as we know it, interrupted only by the war and now resumed with all the old enthusiasm. I like that seaside habit. I do like that. Mr. Marsden was for some time literary editor of the Geographical magazine and published a book called Palmyra of the North on Russian art. Russian art and social history. In 1942, he served with the artillery throughout the war, and it was well stationed in various points on the south coast during 1940 to 1942 that he began to accumulate material and ideas for this book. The result is a witty and extremely gay account full of unusual and enchanting details. So let's go here. The Lending Library, Scarborough, 1813, colored antiquant by Thomas Rawlinson after J. Green from the Poetical Sketches of Scarborough. Again, I love, like, I'm sure it's after somebody else, but I bet if you did it, looked at the original, Rawlinson's put his own mark on this in sort of facial expressions or movement of people, what they're doing. Brighton Beach, summer 1936, watercolor by George Carleton. Again, a great panel across the top. Bathing machine at Margate, engraved trade card, 1791. Oh, that would be lovely to have that card. It's just kind of neat stuff to have. A Cavalier, Young Ladies at the Seaside, 1757, colored lithograph by John Leach. I really like that, because look at how they're on the balcony. They're just squeezed in there. On the Shore, wood engraving by W. Thomas after Ellen Edwards from Idyllic Pictures, 1867. The length of the stuff is kind of looks funny, but it's interesting. Looks like a clam opening up, or, well, no, you never know with these Victorians, you know. Children on the Shore, watercolor by Miles Burkitt Foster, 1825 to 1899. Miles Burkitt Foster was a really good colorist, a watercolorist. I've got a book about him that I picked up really cheaply. Very interesting. And I've seen that one before. That's a popular one. In color, obviously. The Arrival of the Husband's Boat at Margate, colored engraving by W. McConnell, 1865. Let's see here. New Key, circa 1906, oil painting by Charles Conder. And one more. Yeah, these are getting longer. Cromer Beach, 1946, oil painting by Robert Greenham. And until next time, BookTube, take care.